In episode 4, it's now the 6th day since the group got stranded in the Amazon jungle. They haven't had much food or water, but one thing that's constant is the deaths. The number of people dead has increased from 3 to 4, especially after Boxer's death, which has made everyone even more fearful. Now, even those who didn't believe before are starting to have doubts, like Steven. The doctor notices a tattoo on his back and recognizes it as one that's typically forced on prisoners. Having treated such inmates before, the doctor questions Steven about whether he was involved with a gang, but Steven reacts violently, and a fierce fight breaks out between them. Hearing the commotion, other people rush to the scene, and the doctor ends up injured, though he still hasn't revealed Steven's secret. Meanwhile, Lisa delivers bad news. Someone has stolen the bullets from her bag. She says that someone might be doing this on purpose to make them all starve to death. Later, Steven takes Sophia, Jack, and the doctor to a place and explains his story. He says he was sent to jail for fraud, and that's when the tattoo was forced on him. Now, he's a changed man and loves his wife Annie, but the others still don't believe him, so they all remain silent. Meanwhile, Lisa was quietly going somewhere when Sophia suddenly approached her and asked what she was doing. Lisa explained that she runs a hotel and can read people's minds. She was sure that Jack was hiding something because the day before Boxer died, Jack had followed him to a certain spot, but when Jack came back, it was too late, which made Lisa believe Jack was definitely keeping something from them. Just then, it started raining heavily in the forest, forcing everyone to take shelter inside the plane. While they were inside, Sophia noticed that the roof had been tampered with and white liquid was dripping from it. Jack used a rod to pry open the roof, revealing several packets of white powder hidden there. Sophia guessed that the powder was worth around $3 million. She believed the airline staff might have known about this and were involved in the illegal activity, which might explain why they were all suffering and possibly the reason for the deaths. While they were discussing this, no one noticed that Annie had seen the masked man again, the same one who had taken her earlier. Her husband was the first to notice she was missing, and he panicked, rushing out to find her. Jack tried to stop everyone, saying it wasn't safe to go out in such bad weather. But when everyone left, Jack reluctantly followed. Amidst the storm and flickering lightning, they called out for Annie. Lisa found her standing in front of the masked man, who was holding a knife. Lisa tried to threaten him with her gun, but suddenly lightning struck and the man disappeared. Before Lisa could react, the masked man killed her. Now the death toll had reached 5, and it was the 7th day. After the incident, no one could understand why they were being killed, or more importantly, who the killer was. They had been suspicious of each other up until now, but the fear started growing that maybe they were being killed by someone from within their own group. Jack, realizing the situation, urged everyone to come together and unite. At this point, Sophia revealed something from her bag that would uncover many secrets. It was Lisa's gun and the bullets that Jack had hidden under the soil. You might wonder how she knew this. Well, Lisa had told Sophia herself because she suspected Jack was hiding something. Lisa believed Jack was hiding something, so Sophia searched every spot and eventually found the bullets, a satellite phone, and a wallet. With the truth now exposed, Jack admitted that he worked for the Narcotics Bureau. He had received a tip that an airline was secretly smuggling thousands of tons of powder out of America every day, which is why he was on the plane. He also knew very well that no one would trust a fraudster like him. To prove his point, he said that if anyone didn't believe him, they should check the purse where his ID was supposed to be. The doctor opened the purse but found nothing inside. Once Jack realized this, he figured someone had intentionally hidden the ID, but the others weren't aware of this, and Steven, angry, lashed out at Jack. The doctor intervened, telling Steven to stop because if Jack died, they wouldn't be able to use the satellite phone. But there was some good news for them. They now had the pills, which meant they could protect themselves at least. Everyone felt some relief, thinking that the real culprit had been found. They now believed that Jack was the murderer, and with that, they felt they would survive. Meanwhile, Annie, who was a national shooter, reassured everyone that they wouldn't face a food shortage now. With the bullets they had, she would be able to hunt easily. Sophia, however, went to meet Jack, who had been tied to a tree by the others. When he saw her, he told her that she knew him well and questioned why he would play such a game with everyone. He explained that his true intention was to get everyone rescued. But Sophia couldn't stop wondering, if he was so kind, then why had he deceived them from the beginning? Why had he hidden the pills and his ID? And most importantly, why hadn't he mentioned the satellite phone? Jack responded, claiming the phone wasn't his, and asked them to believe what he was saying. But Steven, not as trusting as Sophia, gathered everyone and told them that the truth could only come out in one way, unless he was forced to reveal it. However, no one agreed with his approach. Instead, he suggested a lottery to determine who would be the one to figure out Jack's password. It was decided that the doctor would take the task of finding the password, while everyone else would go up the mountain to check the diatometer and see why it wasn't working. Though the group was starting to believe believed Jack was the killer, the doctor didn't want to hurt him. As a doctor, his job was to save lives, not take them. He promised Jack that if he just calmly told them the password, everyone would go home safely. But Jack insisted that the phone wasn't his, so how could he know the password? Frustrated, the doctor grew angry and, in a fit of rage, punched Jack several times. He then bit off one of Jack's toes, but still, Jack didn't reveal the password. Whether he was telling the truth or hiding something remained unclear. When the group reached the top of the mountain, they discovered that the wire had not been damaged by the weather, but was intentionally cut. Sophia managed to fix it. The scene then cuts to Houston, USA, where the United Nations had received some signals. They called in 2 officers for a secret mission, instructing them that no one should ever know about it. Officer Kayla, after reviewing the report, explained that the pilot and passengers had been intoxicated. The plane was currently stuck in the middle of the Amazon jungle, and the officers had gone to the airline company for more information. They learned that the pilot had previously been caught drinking, but was given a second chance, something against the authorities' regulations. Further investigation revealed that the airline was a fake Airbus company that wasn't even registered, but its fares were cheap, so people still traveled with it. Kayla then suspected that the girl managing the airline could be the pilot's wife, and possibly even Jack's wife, as she had already read the report about the airline. Back in the forest, Jack suddenly regained consciousness and saw the same mysterious person approaching him. The episode ends here, leaving us questioning, is Jack truly the culprit? Now there's also a new mystery. Why is he still alive? Could someone from this gang be on the plane, placed there to monitor everything? For these answers, we'll have to wait until episode 5. In the darkness of the night, someone approaches Jack, holding a knife in their hands. When the camera reveals the figure, it's actually Sophia, but she's not there to kill Jack. She's there to ask him a question. She wants to know how he would prove he's not a murderer. Jack replies that if he were truly the killer, he would have killed everyone the night the plane crashed, but instead he helped them all. Sophia begins to believe in Jack, feeling that while Dr. Stephen, Annie, and the others always stuck together, she was left out. The only person who showed faith in her was Jack. Not wanting to be alone, she decided to cut Jack's ropes, allowing him to escape. The next morning, Sophia tries to act like she doesn't know anything, but the doctor quickly separates them. He accuses someone among them of helping Jack escape, and now he fears that Jack might seek revenge on him and kill him first. But Sophia insists that they need to stay together to increase their chances of survival. Stephen laughs loudly, telling her that Boxer and Lisa had said the same thing. The doctor then reveals his discovery. He shows Sophia the cut wire and the marks on the rope from her knife, proving that she freed Jack and cut the wire. Realizing this, the others turn their backs on Sophia and walk away, leaving her isolated. Meanwhile, Jack wandered alone through the forest, feeling hopeless. He didn't have the courage to return to the group, knowing they wouldn't believe him. After 2 hours passed with no sign of rescue, Annie and Stephen sat in disappointment. Annie then said she was going to leave and meet her father, making it clear she no longer wanted to continue with the escape plan. It seemed true what they say. In times of trouble, you only see the true faces of your loved ones. Although Stephen tried to remain optimistic, nothing seemed to be going right. In the next scene, a helicopter circled above the forest, sent to search for any survivors based on a signal. However, the dense forest and towering mountains made it nearly impossible to spot anything from above. As they stood there, a large group of crows flew overhead, their familiar calls echoing. They followed the sound and descended the hill, only to discover the bodies of a couple who had died. Sophia immediately suspected that Jack was behind their deaths, while the doctor thought it was Sophia and Jack who had done it. In simple terms, all 3 of them believed the others were the murderers, or perhaps all 3 of them were. The uncertainty and suspicion made their minds spin, unsure of who the real killer was. As they discussed their theories, they heard the sound of the helicopter again. Despite this, neither Sophia nor the doctor lowered their guns, so Jack suggested that if they continued thinking this way, none of them would survive. He urged them to focus on rescue instead. The doctor, however, threw his gun away, deciding not to go with Sophia and Jack because he feared they might kill him. He chose to stay behind, while Sophia and Jack climbed the hill to signal the helicopter using smoke. But it wouldn't be easy. The hill was steep, and they hadn't eaten in 2 days. Jack, especially, was exhausted after being tied up the previous day, so he decided to rest for a moment. During their break, Sophia opened up, confessing that she had developed feelings for Jack during their time together, but Jack firmly rejected her, stating that he was married. Sophia, feeling awkward, quickly changed the subject. Suddenly, they heard a gunshot. The doctor had thrown his rifle into the water, so neither he nor Sophia had fired the shot. This raised the question, who had fired it? It was time to uncover the truth. Both Jack and Sophia rushed back down the hill, and there they found the doctor's lifeless body. His mouth was foaming, and his food had been eaten by fish. All that remained were his bones. It was clear now that Jack and Sophia were not the killers. Someone else was behind the murders. With this realization, they decided to stay in the cabin for the night, knowing that the true murderer was still out there. Sophia then remembered something Annie had once mentioned, that she had seen something unusual. It occurred to her that someone might have hidden in the cargo area of the plane and escaped after the crash. Jack and Sophia discussed this theory, and during their conversation, they fell asleep. In their dreams, they saw the airline manager, who had the same satellite phone, speaking to the masked man. Something big was unfolding, and it was clear it would be revealed soon. The next day, the weather wasn't any better. A dense fog covered the area, but somehow they managed to reach the diatometer at the top of the hill. The light was still on, which gave Jack a small sense of relief. Sophia suggested that the helicopter might have missed something yesterday, but they might return today. So they decided to wait at the diatometer. With nothing else to do, Sophia asked Jack about his family. He shared that he had promised his wife, Kayla, he would return within 5 days, but now he wasn't sure if he would ever make it back. Meanwhile, Kayla, now worried, had gone straight to Mexico in search of her husband. However, her senior officers had already placed field markers to track Jack, and she was ordered to stay in the hotel. It seemed like there was a bigger player in the game, someone who didn't want the truth to come out. As the fog on the hill started to clear, Sophia heard sounds from the bushes. She suspected someone was there, but Jack brushed it off, attributing it to a wild animal. They needed to start a fire, so Sophia gathered wood. Jack wanted to help, but was struggling to stand properly. He had a toe injury from when the doctor had attacked him earlier, but Sophia reassured him that she wouldn't go too far. However, as feared, in the dense fog, Sophia was suddenly attacked from behind, leaving her unconscious. The masked man then approached Jack, who, terrified, backed up to the edge of the hill. As he stood there, he wondered why the masked man had killed so many people, but before he could find the answer, the masked man shot him, ending his life. The masked man then turned to Sophia. Before attacking her, he removed his mask. Sophia was stunned when she saw his face, unable to comprehend how this could be possible, but she couldn't do anything more, and the story ended there. With 9 people dead, the mystery remained. Who was this masked man? The answer to this question would be revealed in the final episode, episode 6. Now, after everyone is dead, the chopper sets out again for rescue, but this time too, they does not get anything. They started returning back. Then suddenly their attention fell on an instrument placed on the hill, which was the same diatometer to which the signal was sent. Seeing that everyone landed there and started looking around. During this time, they also found the crashed plane. They informed his senior about this. They found what they were looking for. Hearing this, he immediately sent some more people there. But those who were already present here did not find anything special there. Neither the people nor the white powder behind which this entire chaos is probably taking place. But there was a smell that was pulling them towards it again and again. While following it, they found dead bodies of 9 people lying in a line at one place. They were surprised to see this, but they were at least convinced that one person was still alive. That's why he has kept them all in line. That's why they sends his people to find him. On the other hand, an officer comes to Kayla and tells her that she is not allowed to go near the crashed plane right now, but they have get 9 bodies. So if she wants to recognize someone in him, she can. Hearing this, it was as if the ground slipped beneath Kayla's feet because one of those 9 people was also Jack. Here, all the other dead bodies are brought to an army base camp, and then a special doctor is called so that he can examine everyone. Although this was not their work, but these people have received orders from above, and that is why they are doing this. Meanwhile, we find a lady standing at a distance, keeping an eye on all the activities. It was none other than Lena. Yes, the manager of the airline company who asked for a lift from the same doctor who was passing by. Seeing a woman alone in this deserted place, he stopped his car. That was his biggest mistake because Lena killed him right there. But here at the base, a secret is about to be revealed, which we were eagerly waiting for. Among those dead bodies comes out a dead person who just pretended to be dead, but actually he was alive. Now when he started washing his face, he began to falter. But when he washed his face, we finally got to see the masked man's face. It was none other than the doctor. Yes, the same doctor who was pretending to save everyone's life. And this masked man was the murderer. Lena, dressed in the doctor's clothes, managed to fool everyone into thinking she was him, allowing her to enter the facility. However, when the guard went inside with her, he discovered that the bodies of the dead had their stomachs ripped open. Before he could react, the doctor attacked him from behind. It was then revealed that the doctor and Lena were in love and had orchestrated the entire plot. You may wonder where the doctor hid the powder packets. The answer lies in the stomachs of the 8 victims. He had torn them open to retrieve the packets hidden inside. At that moment, Kayla arrived to identify Jack. But before she could enter, the doctor and Lena set the mortuary on fire. A loud explosion occurred, allowing the two to escape unnoticed, as the soldiers were preoccupied satisfied with putting out the fire. The bodies were burned beyond recognition, ensuring no one would be identified. Meanwhile, the rescue team found nothing on the hill except for a mask that belonged to Boxer, which the doctor had stolen. As they started to leave, they noticed a glow from below. To their surprise, it was Jack, still alive. He had survived because his descent down the hill had been slowed by a tree, preventing him from dying. He was quickly rescued and admitted to the hospital, and Kayla was informed. She rushed to find him and breathed a sigh of relief upon discovering he was safe. Now everything became clear to Jack. He learned that the doctor was the murderer because no passenger named Specs had been on board. He had used a fake passport. Jack also revealed that the plane had been carrying a large amount of illegal powder destined for London. Now they needed to catch the doctor's employer and bring him to justice for the innocent victims. Meanwhile, the doctor and Lena, oblivious to the fact that Jack had survived, were enjoying their freedom. The doctor was confident he hadn't made any mistakes, but he failed to realize that Jack's survival would soon create problems for him. The doctor was the mastermind behind everything from the start. He killed the pilot because the pilot had figured out what was on the plane. If the pilot had lived, he would have exposed the truth, and the doctor's secret would have been revealed. So the doctor made the pilot his first victim. He even faked his own death in a surprising twist. The pills Lisa's husband took were for heat, and the doctor took an overdose of these pills to make his body appear like a living dead body for a while. This trick allowed him to fool the army into thinking he was dead. However, one question remains. When Sophia and Jack came down from the mountain, the person they saw in the water wasn't the doctor, it was Steven. The doctor had dressed him in his own clothes and placed him in the water with piranhas. The fish devoured him so badly that his face became unrecognizable. Jack was shocked by the doctor's clever deception. The doctor had planned everything so perfectly that no one could have imagined it. He killed everyone to escape with the powder, all while staying under the army's radar. Meanwhile, Lena's health began to worsen. The doctor pretended to be concerned, crying at her condition. But then, a smile appeared on his face. He had secretly poisoned her food. The doctor was like a snake, changing his behavior and appearance to deceive everyone. Remember, before the pilot died, he recorded a video where he mentioned Lena's name, which made the doctor believe she was betraying him. This hurt his ego, and now, with her out of the picture, he planned to go solo. However, he didn't realize someone had entered the scene while he was escaping with the powder. Just as he was about to take off, Jack and the police arrived. The doctor was shocked that Jack had survived, but he managed to get the plane in the air. Jack fired several shots, but the doctor escaped, wearing a look of pride. He had outsmarted everyone and had the powder to secure a luxurious life elsewhere. Jack and his team were discouraged, thinking they'd never catch him. But then came a twist. Jack's bullets had hit the plane's fuel tank, causing it to leak. The engine stopped, and the doctor realized this might be his karma. But the story didn't end there. The plane was flying over the same Amazon forest where the doctor had killed everyone. Now he was facing the consequences of his actions in the very place where he had planned the murders. And that's how the story ends, coming full circle. What did you think of the story? Let us know in the comments. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace out.